On today's show, we've got a measuring stick game to talk about as the Cavs get ready to take on the Boston Celtics. They put their undefeated record on the line. I think the Cavs have some advantages. I think there's some areas where they are at a disadvantage, that plus a lengthy injury report and who needs to step up tonight in Boston. That's all straight ahead on today's Locked On Cavs.
You are Locked On Cavs, your daily Cleveland Cavaliers podcast.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? My name is Danny Cunningham. You might know me from my time covering the Cleveland Cavaliers, places like 92.3 The Fan, my new Substack, The Inside Shot, Cleveland Magazine, and a number of other stops along the way. I want to say thank you to you for making Locked On Cavs your first listen today and every day. You can find this show anywhere you get your podcasts. Apple, Spotify, anywhere else. Drop us a 5-star rating. Leave us a nice review. Be a friend. Tell a friend about Locked On Cavs. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure a friend is subscribed as well. The show is also available on YouTube. Do me a favor, if you're watching this video right now, hit that thumbs up button for me, click subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the latest Locked On Cavs content, a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode, of course, sponsored by Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks apps today and use code LOCKEDONNBA and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. Also need to let you know that Locked On Cavs now has a newsletter, introducing the Locked On Cavs daily newsletter, your one stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at lockedondaily.com. That's lockedondaily.com. And start your day with the all-new free Locked On Cavs newsletter. The Cavs take on the Boston Celtics tonight as the Cavs put their undefeated record on the line. They look to become just the second team in NBA history to begin a season with 16 consecutive wins. The only other team to do that, of course, is the 2015-2016 Golden State Warriors. And I know Cavs fans, of course, have very, very fond memories of that team and how their season ended after they began the season with a 24-game winning streak. But this is a big one for the Cavs. This is, I think, their biggest test yet. And the Boston Celtics have been very good to start this season. I don't think they have been great to start this season. Their record is good. They have won some games against some bad teams that have been close calls. Like their last game was against Toronto. They won on a Jason Tatum game winner in overtime, I believe it was, to beat a Raptors team that I think got their third win on Monday night, but overall hasn't been very good. They lost to Atlanta. They've not played, I think, as well as we equate their record to be. Like, they're 11-3 going into this game, and they're a very, very good team. And this is going to be a very, very big test for the Cavs. But I do think that this is a Celtics team that right now is not invincible. I don't think that this Boston team is one that is the final product of what they will be. Of course, Kristaps Porzingis has not played a single minute for them, and that is going to make a big difference. But we're at the point now where the start the Cavs have gotten off to, and really the start Boston has gotten off to too, because they've won a lot of basketball games. And I do think that despite maybe not looking as good as some Celtics fans would like them to look on a nightly basis, I think that franchise has done plenty to earn the benefit of the doubt in the regular season. And I do think that this is something I'm not worried now. I'm at the point where I'm ready to call this an Eastern Conference Finals preview. And I get it. It's November 19th. It's very early in the season. But I do think that this could be a matchup that we see in late May with a berth in the finals on the line. And we've gotten here because the Cavs have been the best story in the NBA so far. They've obviously won their first 15 games of the season. And I do think it's a really cool thing. And I think it's a really smart thing for this organization to be embracing this game the way that they're embracing this game. Kenny Atkinson was asked about it following Sunday night's win over the Charlotte Hornets at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. And he was asked, basically, do you view this as a measuring stick game? Is this a game that means more than just a regular season game on a Tuesday night in November? And he said he does think this is a measuring stick game. It does mean a little bit more because it's an NBA Cup game. So that is something to consider here. But this is a game that the Cavs look at and say, this is a chance to see how we really stack up with the defending champs. The Cavs are 15-0. And like I said, they've been the best story in basketball. They have been the best team in basketball so far. But the Boston Celtics are still the defending champs. They're still really good. They still are the team that ultimately, for the Cavs to get to where they want to go to, which is winning a championship this year, that is the goal. For them to get there, they're going to have to go through Boston at some point. That point is not tonight, but I think tonight does offer a really good preview of what a playoff series could look like in late May. And I do think it's a really good thing for the Cavs that Donovan Mitchell will be fresh and rested, at least as rested as he can be for this one. I thought it was wise that the Cavs scheduled his day of rest when they did. I think part of it is because that Sunday game against Charlotte came right in. It was sandwiched between two NBA Cup games, and I do think that is a goal for the Cavs. I think they want to win the Cup. I think they want to get to Vegas. I think they are taking it seriously. And I think that's part of the reason why Donovan rested on Sunday. But that should also mean that Donovan is able to come out on Tuesday night and look a little bit springier, look a little bit fresher, because he's had, for the first time this season now, he has had multiple days off in a row. The rest of the team has not had multiple days off in a row unless there's been an injury. But he's had multiple days off in a row coming into this one. And that is something that the Cavs have going in their favor for this game, because this is a game that we're going to learn about the Cavs on Tuesday night. We are going to learn just how close they are to Boston. They can go out and they can beat Boston. That is an entirely possible scenario. The betting line is not out for this game yet as I record this, but I am very interested to see what FanDuel has this line at. I would presume Boston's going to be favored slightly, maybe by like 3.5 points. The Cavs do have a lengthy injury report that I will get into coming up in just a little bit on today's show. But I do think there are areas where the Cavs have the advantage in this game. The Celtics are not a great team right now defending the rim. The Cavs have been a really good team getting downhill and getting to the basket, even though they don't necessarily get to the free throw line as much as I think they probably should, and certainly they think that they probably should. The Cavs do a good job attacking the basket. Boston doesn't do a great job defending the basket. If the Cavs are going to win this game, I think that's a place they're going to need to be quite a bit. Evan Mobley is going to have a really good night. He's going to have nights that make us think about how good he was in the Eastern Conference semifinals, when he had a handful of really, really strong performances against the Boston Celtics. I think he's going to have another night like that. Maybe it's not, quite the 30 plus points that he had in at least one of those playoff games, but I do think he needs to be one of the most impactful players on the floor. And how Evan Mobley is used defensively, I think, is going to be very, very interesting, considering that the Cavs are going to be thin on the wing. This, I think, is really the first that we've seen the Cavs go against a team with two wings, the caliber of Tatum and Brown that Boston has, and how the Cavs choose to deploy Evan Mobley defensively is something I've got my eyes on. That is something I really want to see, if they're going to keep him in the normal role that he plays, or if they're going to give him the challenge of going up against Tatum or Brown for as many minutes, for the 34 minutes he's going to play. That is something that is very interesting to me. We saw it at times last year. Maybe that's something that's more of a playoff move and not something that you don't want to overdo it in the regular season. That could very well be the case, but I'm very interested in that. The one area where I think the Cavs are at a disadvantage is the 3-point shooting. The Cavs are the best 3-point shooting team in basketball. They're shooting right around 42% for the year from beyond the arc. That is an incredible mark, and there's no reason that can't keep up on Tuesday night. But the Cavs don't take enough of them. Despite how good the Cavs are at shooting 3-pointers, on average, the Celtics score more from beyond the 3-point arc than the Cavs do. And that's with Boston only shooting 37%. I say only, like 37% is a good number, but that 5% difference is significant. But when you add in that Boston takes like 50 plus threes per game, then that math goes against the Cavs. Even if Boston isn't shooting a crazy high percentage, they are going to shoot at a crazy high volume. If they shoot 37%, that means that they probably hit like 18 or 19 3-pointers. If the Cavs shoot 42%, they probably hit 14 or 15 3-pointers. That is a little bit of a math disadvantage. The Cavs are going to have to defend the 3-point line on Tuesday much better than they have been, because this is a team that has not defended the 3-point line well at all for the last several weeks. We saw it for stints in the game against Charlotte. We've seen it in multiple games where teams have shot 40+% from three. The Cavs are going to have a really good game defensively in that particular area if they're going to beat Boston. Part of the reason why they're going to have a good night there, and they're going to need guys to step up on that end. The injury report the Cavs put out on Monday, pretty lengthy. We're going to dive into that and what it means next right here on Locked On Cavs. Today's show is brought to you by Prize Picks. Right now at Prize Picks, you can win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. That's a really awesome way to go. You might be sitting there asking, well, what is Prize Picks? Prize Picks is the best place to win real money with sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just have to pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best way to get action on sports in over 30 states, including California, Florida, Georgia, Texas. Prize Picks also the only real money daily fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy so that your lineups stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. So if your player leaves in the first half and doesn't return, Prize Picks keeps your lineup live. Prize Picks also puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When picks hit, you get your money in as quick as 15 minutes. That's awfully quick. And right now, you can sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. Don't even need to win to get that $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. It's, hey, Taco Tuesday today, right? So each Tuesday, Prize Picks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value to your lineup. So download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA. That's LOCKEDONNBA and get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app today. Use code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. Thank you again for making Locked On Cavs your first listen today and every day. Like I said earlier, you can find the show anywhere you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, anywhere else. Drop us a 5-star rating. Leave us a nice review. Be a friend. Tell a friend about Locked On Cavs. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure they are subscribed as well. The Cleveland Cavaliers had a relatively lengthy injury report at earlier on Monday evening for the game against the Celtics on Tuesday. It's one that I don't think there are maybe a couple of surprises on there, but the biggest news on there is that Dean Wade is going to miss the game against Boston. So he left the game on Sunday against Charlotte, rolled his left ankle, did not return. He's listed as out. After seeing him in the locker room following that game against Charlotte, it would not surprise me if Dean misses some time here. He's obviously not going to play against Boston. I would be very surprised if he plays on Wednesday against New Orleans. Maybe Sunday, but even then, that might be pushing it when they play Toronto. So I do think that it's possible he misses a decent chunk of time with this ankle injury, just based on what we saw, how the injury happened, and how he seemed to be walking in the locker room after the game. The absence of Wade is kind of the worst team, the Celtics, for Wade to miss a game against. I mean, you can think back to what things were like in the postseason where everyone kept talking about Dean Wade potentially coming back and how that could change his series against Boston. And he's very important, not just because he had a 20-point fourth quarter against the Celtics last March in Cleveland, but he's very important in this matchup because the Cavs don't have a ton of depth on the wing. And Boston has 2 of the best wing players in the NBA in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. So that absence of Wade means somebody else is going to have to step up and defend those guys. And that is no easy task, especially when you start looking down the rest of the injury report, because Isaac Okoro, who also left the game on Sunday night with an ankle injury, he's listed as questionable. I think he does have a decent chance to play in this game, but if he is playing, how effective is he going to be? Is he going to be able to go 100%? Is he going to be the defender the Cavs are going to need him to be? Because my guess, the way the Cavs are going to start out lining up, Isaac Okoro is probably going to draw Jason Tatum from the start. And maybe the Cavs are going to put Evan Mobley on Jaylen Brown. But with Derek White and Drew Holiday, Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland are going to have to be on those two guys. So the Cavs right now don't have answers for the guys on the wing. And if Dean Wade, who we already know is out, if Isaac Okoro can't play or is ineffective, Karis LeVert, another guy that's on the injury report, he's listed as questionable with a knee, I believe knee inflammation is what is his designation. The Cavs very quickly just ran out of wings. If those guys cannot play, the Cavs are going to be in a very, very difficult spot. We could see Jalen Tyson minutes. We could see Luke Travers need to play. The Cavs are running out of bodies on the wing if all these guys are unable to play. Now, if they are able to play, that is obviously very good news for the Cavs, and it makes this matchup not an easy one because this Boston team is very good, but it makes it much more tenable than if you're asking guys like Jalen Tyson, and Sam Merrill is another guy who is questionable, but maybe asking him to have to defend guys on the wing at times in this game with how good Boston is, how good those two wing players are in specific. That's a really, really tough ask. That is a very, very tough ask. That's why I think that if the Cavs are going to win this game on Tuesday night, they're probably going to have to outscore Boston. We've not seen the Cavs play great defense for like the last 10 days or so. They've not been a very good defensive team. They're going to have to put up 130 plus points. This is the game that I think is going to have to be a shootout if the Cavs are going to be the team that comes out on top of it. I also think they're probably going to need some luck on that injury report. If Isaac Okoro can't play, if Karis LeVert can't play, if Sam Merrill can't play, things just become really thin really quickly. If those guys are all down, you're talking about not having 5 rotation players for this game because you have to include Max Strus in that. I know he hasn't played yet this year, but he's a rotation player. He's a starter. If those guys all don't play, you're down Strus, Wade, Okoro, LeVert, and Merrill. 5 rotation players. Yes, it's great that the core 4 is all available and seemingly healthy and that Donovan is well rested. That's awesome. But that means the Cavs are going to need much, much more. They're going to need star efforts from everybody that is in the core 4 if they just don't have the role player depth that we've become accustomed to this team having. Because that has been the one thing that it's been somebody else, it feels like every night. Like, for instance, on Sunday when Ty Jerome stepped up and had 24 and 8, they need that again. Can you count on getting that again consistently? I don't know that you can, but it's much easier to not have that one night when you have other guys that can step up. If the Cavs don't have the players listed on the injury report, it becomes a much more difficult task. It becomes a much bigger challenge. So that is the thing that I look at that very quickly stuck out to me, because this is a game where I do think that the Cavs need guys to step up. Ty Jerome needs to have a good night. Jalen Tyson might be playing his first real legitimate NBA minutes in this game, depending on how the injury report shakes out, depending on who's available and who's not. I think it's a really good thing Donovan Mitchell got rest, that he didn't play on Sunday, because he should be primed to have a big game. He should have a really, really big game in this one. I know Drew Holiday and Derek White are really good defenders. I get that. But this is a moment. This is a chance, I think, for the Cavs to say, no, this 15-0 record, despite the fact that not every team the Cavs have played has been the 73-9 Warriors, right? And I think too much of that gets made that their schedule soft. I could not disagree more with that because of the lack of rest that they've had, and they've had so many back-to-backs. And at a certain point, you have a target on your back, and the Cavs have talked about having a target on the back, and they do like being hunted, and Darius Garland has said as much, but it becomes tough. It does become tough. So if the Cavs are going to win this game, what are they going to need? I want to talk about what we need to see from Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, and Jarrett Allen next, right here on Locked On Cavs. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel, of course, is America's #1 sportsbook. And right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL, NHL, NBA, all of it, all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, so much more, all on the same page where you place your bets. That page, of course, is at FanDuel Sportsbook. Maybe you like the Cavs to win the NBA Cup. If the Cavs are going to win the NBA Cup, they're going to need to have a really good night tonight in Boston. As things stand right now, going into NBA Cup action on Tuesday night, there's a bunch of NBA Cup games. The Cavs have the second best odds of raising that trophy in Vegas. The only team with better odds, the New York Knicks. New York is at plus 550. The Cavs are at plus 650. If you think the Cavs are going to win tonight in Boston, it's not a bad idea to take them to win the NBA Cup right now, because if the Cavs beat the Celtics and their two remaining group stage games are against Atlanta the day after Thanksgiving and against Washington in Cleveland, two games the Cavs absolutely should win, those odds are going to drop, because if the Cavs beat Boston, they're a pretty safe bet to get out of group play. And then, of course, anything can happen. And I can't predict what's going to happen in the quarters, the semis, or the finals. But you like your chances of them just at least being in the elimination round. So maybe if you think the Cavs are going to be Boston tonight, that's where you should be going. But you should be going to FanDuel because it is America's #1 sports book. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today, and you can get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com, FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Thank you again for making Locked On Cavs your first listen today and every day. Like I said earlier, you can find the show anywhere you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, anywhere else. Drop us a 5-star rating. Leave us a nice review. Tell a friend about Locked On Cavs. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure a friend is subscribed as well. If you're watching this video on YouTube right now, do me a favor. Hit that thumbs up button for me. Click subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the latest Locked On Cavs content. For the Cavs to win tonight in Boston, I think that all four members of the core four need to have big games. Each of the last two games, we have seen four players for the Cavs score 20 or more points. I think it's going to need to have another effort like that one for this team to win. I think they're going to need to win with offense. They've been the best offense in NBA history to date this season. They're coming off of two games where they played relatively well on offense. They need that to continue. They need to get downhill. They need to get to the basket, and they need to convert opportunities there. I also think they need to be the team that dictates the pace this game is played at, because that is the one thing that when they have not looked great, they've not been the team that has dictated the pace. They've played at times at the pace of other teams. They need to be the team that decides how fast this game is going. Boston comes into this game 25th in pace. They want to play slower. The Cavs right now are 7th in pace. They've been one of the really, I mean, the change from last year's pace where the Cavs were 24th to this year's where they're 7th has been very drastic. If the Cavs can get this game, even if it means the Celtics are shooting a lot of threes, if the Cavs can get this into a game that goes up and down and not a game that is set in the half court and Boston's getting into their sets and they're getting open threes with like 8 on the shot clock, if they're trying to speed up the Celtics, I think that gives the Cavs a better chance because it's going to be higher scoring, which is where the Cavs are very comfortable being right now. It's also, I think, going to get the Celtics out of their comfort zone. And I think for Cleveland to win this game, that is something that absolutely needs to happen. I also think Donovan Mitchell needs to step up and be a superstar. He's been playing great basketball. The last few games he's played, he's been terrific. He needs to be that again for the Cavs on Tuesday night. It's a nationally televised game. It's an NBA Cup game. It is a measuring stick game that the Cavs have embraced, that it's a measuring stick game. They're excited about this opportunity. If they step up, if they play to their potential, they can win this game. They absolutely can. They can get to 16-0, which would be a remarkable, incredible achievement. Now, doesn't mean that the season is a massive success because of the start. But if the Cavs find a way to beat Boston on Tuesday, they're going to have a lot of confidence. And I'm already comfortable saying that we're watching a preview on Tuesday night of what the Eastern Conference Finals are going to be. But this is an opportunity for the Cavs, I think, to send a message not just to Boston, but to the entire NBA, that this Cavs team, if you're watching, you already know this, but this Cavs team is very clearly not the same Cavs team from the last couple of years. And I think Tuesday night is an opportunity for them to send that message, not only to the Celtics, but to the rest of the league. I want to say thank you to you for making Locked On Cavs your first listen today and every day. Like I said earlier, you can check out the show anywhere you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, anywhere else. Drop us a 5-star rating, leave a nice review, be a friend, tell a friend about Locked On Cavs. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button for me, click subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the latest Locked On Cavs content. I will talk to you first thing tomorrow with a podcast from Boston after the Cavs take on the Celtics.